every time when I see any kind of news media outlet talking about statues, whether they be Confederate, Union, presidential, or whatever, I get extremely frustrated about what's going on with the current state of our country. Just tearing down statues, and even at some points melting them down, or just basically basically tearing them down and relocating them based upon lies. And I have three specific examples for that, which have been in the talks for quite some time now. I wish I actually made a video about these earlier, but considering the time of the month it is, as well as having a lot of other stuff on my personal plate, like finally being able to attend a graduate ceremony at WSU. I didn't really have the time, but now I'm glad I have the time to make this video. And so I just want to lay out there. I am really frustrated. And my frustration begins with the statue of Robert E. Lee from Charlottesville. Now, there's a whole lot of controversy that's been surrounding the statue in recent memory, as when it came to what happened at Charlottesville back in 2017, and just the whole debacle coming forward. And very recently, a few months ago, it actually the city of Charlottesville voted to get rid of those statues. Not only the Robert E. Lee statue, but the Stonewall Jackson statue, and even, believe it or not, and I do not understand why Charlottesville would do this, except to further propagate the stupid notion that it's supposedly racist, a statue of Sacagawea with Lewis and Clark. I don't get it either. I really don't. But now, just recently, and this occurred on around December 7th, 2021, that the city plans to give it to the African American Heritage Center, a local African American Heritage Center, which plans on melting it down and turning it into a new piece of art. Which, again, this really irritates me because it's the statue of Robert E. Lee. However you feel about it, however you feel about the man, or what the controversy surrounding the statue, that is still history. And I think it is wrong to tear down that history. I feel it's wrong to melt it down. To me, it's kind of like the fire that occurred in the Great Library of Alexandria. Because of what happened, it made, and to some extent human interference, we have a lot of lost history that cannot be restored thanks to that. A lot of many important documents that reside in the Great Library of Alexandria, we can no longer see, either due to natural causes like disasters, or again, because of human beings thinking that that is not going to fit to their specific standards, or not going to fit based upon their opinions, which again, it is completely ridiculous. I honestly think that once the statue does get melted down, it's gonna be turned into woke art as always. It's become irritating at this point, to be honest with you. And I know that apparently the African American Heritage Center did say that they're going to have some community work, or work with the community in order to build the new artifact, new artwork that they have. But again, in my opinion, and especially based upon the crap that's been going on, especially in regards to these statues, I do not see it turning into non-woke art, if that makes sense. I definitely believe it's going to have some semblance of woke ideology to it, especially with how a lot of places, like say in New York, have been putting up statues of people like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd as a result. Which actually gets me to my second example that I want to put in this video. Because just recently, and this was in late November, a statue of Thomas Jefferson, a life-size statue of Thomas Jefferson that has resided in the city hall in New York City for 187 years, has been removed. Now, of course, the people who decided to remove that, they said that they were saying it to a heritage, to a museum, that sort of thing. But what really irks me is the claim that apparently some black employees just felt intimidated by Thomas Jefferson. And I honestly 100% believe that's complete BS. If that's the case, why is it that the issue of Thomas Jefferson owning slaves is becoming a major issue now? Especially since the man died in, I think it was 1825. I know he died on Independence Day, 50 years after. 50 years. I take it back. I think it was 1826, if that's correct. I think it is 1826. July 4th, 1826. But they make this a huge issue about him owning slaves, despite the fact that, one, he was the author of the Declaration of Independence that actually helped lead to the road to I argue emancipation as well as independence. Two, he actually tried to get the slaves emancipated. Before the Revolution, Thomas Jefferson tried to talk with King George III, or the second, I cannot remember which one, about trying to find a way to achieve emancipation, at least in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I was about to say state, but Virginia at that time was a colony, not a state. But apparently that refused. He even went so far as to actually say in his rough draft the problems of slavery. However, due to the fact that many of the southern states were slave states, he had to get rid of that to focus on the bigger issue of independence before emancipation. And yet the woke mob prefers to focus on this one bad thing, despite the fact that this guy tried to achieve emancipation as well as independence. He's one of the founding fathers. He's one of the people who created this country. Ugh. It really is irritating to see how people view people in the past nowadays, from the lens of critical race theory, or just from wokeness in general, from the far left perspective. And Thomas Jefferson is not the only one. I've said before in a previous video about talking specifically about Teddy Roosevelt. Now, in this case of Teddy Roosevelt, not only was his statue called racist because apparently he was sitting on a horse that made him mightier than everyone, and apparently he was with several Native Americans who were walking, but he was also labeled as a colonizer, simply by the fact that he lived in a time when America was growing as a power, a major world power. And yes, he did expand America's power by not only participating in the Spanish-American War, that as a regular citizen. In fact, he actually went so far as to resign from being Assistant Secretary of the Navy to fight on the battlefield itself. And even went so far as to help achieve Panama's independence and building Panama Canal. But apparently to the far left, he's a colonizer, an imperialist, and a racist. It's ridiculous. He even helped build the Museum of Natural History. He was into this stuff. He was a conservationist. He even built the national park system as we know it today. The good thing about this is, despite the fact that there are many people, including this fringe group that's apparently just popped out of nowhere called DTP, also known as Decolonize This Place. Despite these woke groups and their massive outrage, at the very least, this statue is being relocated to North Dakota. Specifically, at the currently under construction Presidential Library of Teddy Roosevelt. I'm at least glad that the statue would find a place where it can actually have some kind of appreciation. Because apparently New York, the far left in general, does not appreciate these kinds of people. Not unless it's, say, George Floyd, a career criminal, or maybe I wouldn't be surprised if they would love statues of Lenin or Stalin. I would not be surprised one bit. This is a major problem, and it really frustrates me. I don't mind people building new statues. None whatsoever. In fact, whenever I see a new statue being formed that actually adds to the context of a situation like, say, the American Civil War, I'm completely fine with that. In fact, I celebrate that. Because that means a piece of history has been discovered and it's now being shown and to the wider public. If they get rid of that for a specific lens, that does not help anybody. But then again, what do I know? Because all the woke mob cares about, all they care about is trying to achieve their political aims of achieving identity politics, all this woke socialist crap, and trying to get people to believe that America is a bad country, it's a racist country, and this crap just really irks me. The reason why I made this video is simple. I want people to start rising up against this crap. Go protest. And if you can't protest, try to run for office. And if those things don't work, I would say try to buy these statues. Buy these statues so that way you can appreciate them. Maybe buy some private land, like many groups have done. Buy some private land where it's shown where the public can see, and place that statue there and show it to the rest of the public, so that way they can appreciate it. Now, of course, there will be protests, but at the very least, no one can touch that statue unless they want to be charged with vandalization or vandalism. This is meant to encourage people to continue pushing back against this woke narrative. This is meant to get people to continue to peacefully protest against this kind of crap. This is meant to hopefully push for something better than toppling of statues, all because of a minority, a loud, vocal woke minority. I really hope. I really hope that soon this moral panic does come to an end, and a lot of the people would try to figure out a way not only to restore these statues, but again add new ones, so that way they could be able to add more context to history. I really hope that will be the case in the future. My name is Nobi, and on the Arc Truth, please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share for friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how I speak, or how I frame my videos, or just the overall length of this video, please post them down in the comment section down below, or direct them message me. Thank you.